welcome back to So Biased. It's Halloween! It is one of my favorite holidays and it is time for my Halloween project. I've been working on this so long and I can't wait to show you. So this year, Lady Rebecca Fashions and Kira Lee Cosplay are doing the historical Halloween 2020 challenge, which is to do a fancy dress costume that somebody in the era that you usually wear would have worn. And I did a ton of research about Halloween costumes in the 1940s, and they tend to trend one of two ways: nightmare fuel or cultural appropriation. Not my favorite things. I looked at a lot of photos from the 1940s to try to see what people were wearing as costumes, and given that there was the war going on, I started to see some people who were wearing uniforms. So nurses' uniforms, some military uniforms, and some sports uniforms. And then it occurred to me, a league of their own. If you're not familiar with the movie, it is based on the real-life story of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, which was started in 1943 as a response to the male baseball players who were being drafted and going off to World War II. So they created a women's baseball league that was professional for the first time ever. And this was popularized in one of my favorite movies made in 1992 with Gena Davis and Tom Hanks, called A League of Their Own.
Some of you are gonna have to go home.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Come on, Doris.
Those people are jerks.
What do you mean some of us?
Do it. Okay, some of them are going home.
Hey, how did you do that? Excuse me. Hey, you caught that? Hello?
Now, is this a flimsy pretense so that I can just make a League of Their Own uniform? Yeah, it really is. But I don't care, because I'm obsessed with the movie. I love baseball. I'm all about women's empowerment. And also, A League of Their Own has a really cool queer history, which I'm not going to get into today because it would be an entire video. If you would like to see an entire video about queer history in the Aagpbl, comment below. So the original 4 teams of the Aagpbl were the Georgia Peaches, the Kenosha Comets, the Racine Bells, and the South Bend Blue Sox. I am really not a fan of pink, so I didn't want to do Georgia, and I couldn't really find any yellow. And also, a bunch of the ladies from Costume College did the Kenosha Comets as a team uniform a few years back, and they looked fabulous. So in my ridiculous obsession with blue dresses, I'm going to be doing the South Bend Blue Sox. And I also took the opportunity to do a ton of research into the extant examples that we have surviving in museums. The Smithsonian has some uniforms, the Baseball Hall of Fame has some uniforms, and there are a bunch in Americana uniforms all around the US. I presume just the US. This was a league that actually existed long past the war, and there was a ton of women who came and went who played with them. And there's a wonderful documentary about a queer couple, and one of them was a member of the Aagpbl, and she kept signing autographs well into her 80s. She kept her own baseball cards and would hand them out with autographs. So if any of you know somebody who played with them and can hook me up or introduce me, I would die. This project has a lot of parts. There is the main uniform dress, and the dress was quite controversial at the time because female baseball players played in pants or they played in shorts. They'd never played in dresses before, but it was used as a way of bolstering the league and getting more attendance because sexism. They just wanted to show off pretty girls in skirts. Yikes. So there's a cotton dress, there's a belt, there's satin shorts that go underneath the dress, and then there's, of course, a baseball hat. I'm making pretty much all of these, and I'm going to do it as period accurate as possible. And I tried my best to find the exact fabrics, construction style, everything that I could. I managed to find a pattern on Etsy from a creator called Designing Twining for the basic dress. I made a few alterations based on my research of the extant garments, but by and large I stayed fairly faithful to the pattern, and it turned out really great. I'm a big fan of this pattern. So this is going to be my Halloween costume. This is my contribution to Historical Halloween 2020. I'm so excited to show you this. I really hope you enjoy it. all the pieces are cut out now, and I'm looking at the fabric, and this is a cotton twill, which is exactly the same as in the Extant garments in all the photos and records I can find. And it's so heavy. Like, look at how heavy this stuff is. So a bunch of these pieces call for interfacing, like in the collar, and I'm like, no, like, this is really heavy fabric. I feel no. Fun fact, if you really, really hate yourself, you can do a decorative top stitch and then run out of thread 3/4 of the way through. My life. I had to pick all that out. Anyway, so the top stitching was not mentioned in the pattern. Okay, you can see some of the little threads that I need to pull out from the other one. And then sewed the shoulders on. So this is the back, obviously, and then the front has the darts in the bust, and then that kind of square neckline. So it has that diagonal line across the front, and then it has the other bust piece that goes across. So it crosses over quite a lot, and you have this square neckline. And then you're going to have the buttons going down here. If you guys remember what it looks like, you have that cool angle, and then 3 buttons down the front. And then next up is sleeves. This one has a big hem. It's a, so it has a ruled hem, but you turn it up an inch and press it, and then you turn it up another inch. So it's a like 2-inch rolled hem, which is cool. And then there's a tiny bit of gathering, rolled hems, gathering stitches, and then and then we're going to gather up the tops a bit, and then we are attaching the sleeves to the bodice, and then sewing along the side seam to finish everything off. Oh God, I have to set sleeves. I just thought of that. Maybe they won't be terrible. Maybe these sleeves will be not the worst. Sleeves are on. The amount of gathering I had to do was essentially none. And so those sides are all done. I did a zigzag to finish them off and some trimming. So sleeves are on, and then shirt is sewn together along the side seams. So that's done. And then the next step is doing the finishing on the sleeves, which they want you to do after you attach the sleeves. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need attention? Were you flapping your ears to get our attention? Hi. Yeah. Are you the cutest? You know. So they want you to hem it, because you have that, remember, that 2-inch turn under rolled hem thing, and they want you to sew it right close to the edge. But on the Extant garments, but you can see the hem is really, really close to the edge. So I'll do like a 1/4 inch of that top stitching here in the dark blue. Sleeves, well, basically almost all the bodice is done now. So I'm super impressed with the fit. They got this really square neckline that was going on. So you can see the kind of flappy thing here. That's obviously going to be like finished and opened up and all that stuff and have the buttons on it. And the sleeves fit nicely. Like, I'm impressed. They're pretty good. And then, yeah, you can see the bust darts. Can you? Yeah, bust darts here. And there are bust darts on the original. Like, so this is super authentic. So, well done. Okay, next up is collar. Collar, sewn, and zigzagged, finished. And then we're going to turn this inside out, and we're going to press the knot out of it to try to make it all pointy and fun. And then we are going to sew it on. Guys, the bodice is almost done. I'm so excited. The next part was the facing. So it has this kind of under collar piece, this like half moon. It's a collar piece. It looks like a collar piece. It's collar piece chic. And then these 2 facing pieces. And so you sew them together at the shoulders and then finish them. It said to press them open, but I'm finishing with zigzag. So I'm not pressing them open because they're sewn shut. And then you sew it to the edges of the bodice and then finish all those seams, and then clip the corners because we're going to turn this inside out. So we're going to turn this inside out, and then we're going to have a mostly finished bodice. The one thing it does say is to do top stitching, once I turn this inside out, do top stitching on the edge here, but I don't think I'm going to, because again, looking at the extant garments, this is a different one. This is the one I'm actually duplicating. This is the South Bend team, which is blue, go blue. So you can see there is not top stitching around the front here. There is on the collar, so I'm going to do it on the collar. And it's really cute. I'm not sure if you can see it here. You can see a tiny little bit of the gathering stitches around the shoulder that are still there. The patchwork, you can tell these women like work. So you can see on this one, they did a lot of patches. There's this big patch here on the underarm seam. Like all the catching and throwing would have pulled at these seams, because you can see it again here, but you can see the repairs that have been done around the sleeve, underneath, and on the side, because they were running and sliding and doing all sorts of stuff in these uniforms. So very cool. All right, so gonna turn it inside out, gonna press all my seams, and then gonna do some top stitching on the collar. Okay, this is the bodice. I have to do buttonholes next. I am not looking forward to that. But you can kind of see there's going to be some gathering here at the bottom because it's a little loose and gappy right now, which is fine. So it'll be pulled in a little bit. But it has that square neckline, which is so perfect. Oh, sorry, I got that. But yeah, so this perfect kind of square collar, and I did do the top stitching on the collar, and that turned out really nicely. And then buttonholes are next, and sleeves are finished and also top stitched. And then yeah, so buttons, gathering threads at the bottom, and then skirt. I made buttonholes the first time through. They look so nice, and they're straight, and the back is not horrible, and they're buttonholes, and my machine didn't eat the fabric. So in my research, I cannot seem to figure out anywhere whether or not this uniform has pockets, but I don't care, because if you have the opportunity to put pockets in a garment and you don't, you are wrong. So you know pockets are going to happen. Next up is the skirt. The pockets are sewn on, so we have skirt panel 1 and skirt panel 2, and we are just going to pin them together around the pocket and down the sides, and we are going to sew a skirt together, because skirts are easy to sew. Now that we have the skirt done, the next step is to sew the skirt to the bodice, and you have to layer the panels, the front panels, on top of each other. Or if you are an absolute idiot like me, you layer them the wrong way. Put the buttons on the top. Because I'm stupid. And now I have to pick it all out and do it again. I just did the first fitting. It did not go well. It looked, oh my God, it looked like some really ill-fitting cleaning lady uniform, guys. It was tragic. It was a struggle.
There's no crying in baseball! No crying!
So that's how much I need to take off of the bodice on each side. So that's like what, a good inch, so 2 inches. So 4 inches total off of the bodice. And then at least that much, probably a bit more. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see the little mark there. That's how much I need to take off of the skirt. Like, damn. I tried it on and I thought, okay, well, the bodice is going to be gathered, and there's gathering in the back and there's gathering in the front, so that'll take care of this little extra. No, it is a big sack. I could just be because, you know, I always grade things by boob size and it fits in the boobs. So chest is okay. Everything is not. Hashtag story of my life. Also, it's really long, which is fair. I knew that from the pattern. It's like knee length. But in real life, these things were not knee length. These things were well above the knee, which, you know, scandalous for the 40s.
Sure. I'm gonna have to squat in that thing.
But I'm making the little shorts, the little cutie shorts to go with it. So I don't mind taking a good, like, 4 to 6 inches off of the hem. We are finally nearing the end of the dress part, but there's lots of accessories coming. And part of that is sewing these, which are the belt loops. So what you're doing is you sew them, this is the side seam of the dress, and so you put them just on either side and then do a seam at the top and a seam at the bottom. And this is something that I've seen in the extant garments, is sometimes they're sewn at the bottom and then flipped over, and sometimes they're sewn at both sides. I've seen both, so both are okay. So one of the little belt loops goes on just one side of the side seam, and then the other one goes on the other side. Then we're gonna make a belt, which is a thing I've never done, so that could be great. It's shorts time. And I also have a pair of these kind of like pajama shorts that actually fit me. They're a little big, but because I'm a big cheater, I am not gonna draft a pattern for these because I don't have time for that. So I am going to just kind of take this pattern and trace it onto the fabric. So I've added about an inch in the middle and then about up to 2 inches on the sides here. So they should be about the right length. I may end up adding a little bit more. And then just a bit for the crotch here. So this is the back side, and then I'm going to trace the front side, and then I am going to sew them together, and I am going to attempt French seams. There is a waistband with a drawstring and elastic in the back, but the original shorts just had the elastic waistband. So I'm going to do a separate piece about this size. So this is probably about almost an inch. Probably with a seam allowance it's an inch. So I'm going to do a 2-inch strip for the waistband, and I'm going to sew it in. And yeah, we should have some shorts after that. Like, if you look at all the pictures of the original uniforms, with the very few exceptions of someone like sliding, you never see these shorts. They were short. And then yeah, this is the front piece. You can see space out for the gusset and the crotch, and here back piece, same thing. These were angled on the original garment. I don't think I'm gonna need that, but I left it in just because I got big thighs. That's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna sew the 2 front pieces together, then I'm gonna sew the 2 back pieces together down the center, and then I'm gonna do front to back and front to back. French seam tutorial. So you can notice this is where I want the finished seam line to be. So I put wrong sides together. Normally you would do right sides together. So wrong sides together, and then I'm going to turn it and sew it together at half the seam allowance you want. Then turn it inside out, and you're going to sew it down again at the full seam allowance. Here we have our seam allowance, and what we're going to do is we're going to pin it again and sew it again at past where we want the actual seam to be, and we're going to encapsulate all of that seam allowance we just sewed, so we have this beautiful little fold on the outside. We have shorts! I finished the crotchal seams, did a French seam there too. Look how pretty. See, this is a nice French seam, and it's all encased and no fraying. It's wonderful. And then I just did a simple rolled hem on the bottom of each leg, because also fraying. The waistband, like I said, I just cut out a 2-inch strip of the satin, and I sewed it on, regular seam, and then a zigzag, because doing a French seam on this would be a pain in the butt. And I left open a little bit at the side, and I have my elastic that I'm going to run through the waistband. Mina, I'm trying to do a video here. All right, what are you doing? I'm trying to film a video. Okay, really? Really? Thank you. And then I am going to close up that one remaining edge, and yeah, I think that's it. And then we move on to the belt. Next step in the dress is the belt, and in the interest of historical accuracy, I definitely did not spend 7 hours on Etsy to find a perfect match belt buckle. Nevertheless, it arrived. Fun story, I ordered the patches from the US 2 weeks ago, and they're still not here. I ordered this from France. And it arrived today, and that's like 5 days later, so, you know, go France. And it actually came with 2. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm very, very excited. Yeah, it was like $5 or something, or €5 for 2 of them, which was really nice. So we have the cute little silver belt buckle and the blue canvas that we're going to be using for the belt. So I waited to make the belt until I got the buckle because I wanted to make sure it was the perfect size. And I also got silver grommets to put the grommets in the right spot. But yay! So thank you so much. This is, what is it? Natalie from La Boîte à Secrets. So the box of secrets. Very cool. This is the belt. It has been sewed down. Okay, you can probably see it here. So sewed down, flipped inside out, pressed on the back, and pressed on the front. But time to check the math. Does it fit? Yay! Okay, I can officially do math. The belt in the pictures has this weird kind of turned under, sewn on thingamawhatsit that I'm going to replicate. And so I'm going to finish that here and then just do a just do kind of a straight finish on the other side. I have never made a belt before, so I had to actually kind of look up the logistics. I have to take one end and sew it over this crossbar to hold it in place, and then do a finish on this end with the grommets so it will go through. But I also have to cut a hole here for this little bar so that I can feed it through the belt and then pass it through, turn it under, and then sew it down. So we'll fold it under so we can have it finished, and then with the little hole to have the pokey thing coming out. And then this is the other end, and it looks like on the originals that I can find, they just tucked in the corners and then just tucked in the tops and sewed it all in at the edges, and then they just had some seam lines across holding it in place. I'm going to trim it because it's way too long right now, and then I'm going to do some fittings, and then I am going to put in a handful of grommets so that I can wear it at different sizes, because weight loss / gain is a thing, especially in quarantine. Oh boy. Fair warning, if you're making a belt buckles are directional because you have the curve in the little tong thing. What is this called? You have a curve in this, so it has to be going in the direction, so the other end has to be coming through this way, otherwise it won't lay flat on the buckle. I took an awl and I punched a hole in this, so that should hopefully give me a lot less frayed threads. And then I turned the belt under and pinned it down, and I'm just going to do a straight seam across this one. When I was looking at the originals, you could actually see a seam going down the middle here, and I didn't really realize what it was. I'm like, oh, that's obviously the end of the belt. It's here! Patches are here! Okie doke. We have... what do we got? Yay! Oh my goodness, these look so cute. I'm so excited. This one is the hat badge, so this goes in the center front of the hat. This is the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Seriously, girls? Ugh. Anyway, you can imagine them calling the MLB the All-American Boys Baseball League, but still, super pretty. This one goes on the arm of the dress, and then the gigantic patch that goes center front of the dress. I am going to sew these on, and it's going to look so much better. I'm so excited. If you need this, this comes from Jade Fire Creations on Etsy. Look how great of a job they do. This is super pretty. Other package just arrived. It is a hat. Oh, it's kind of dark. That's okay. I can make that work. Okay, so I just need to attach the last patch to the center here. I will sew that on, and then we are almost done. And we have a hat. I'm really impressed with these patches. They look so good. South Bend Blue Socks.
of all the boys I've known, and I've known some. Until I first met you, I was lonesome. And when you came in sight, dear, my heart grew light, and this old world seemed new to me. You're really swell, I have to admit you deserve expressions that really fit you. And so I've racked my brain hoping to explain all the things that you do to me. By me.
Well, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if there will be trick-or-treaters this year. I don't know how that will work because the plague, but I don't care, and I will be wearing my Halloween costume for Halloween because I love it. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please comment, please introduce yourselves. I'd love to see who's watching the videos. If you have any suggestions for new projects, if there's anything you want to see, please let me know. If you're working on something yourself, please tell me that too. I'd love to get to know you all. Until then, please stay happy and healthy. Please take care of each other, and see you all soon. Excuse me, in the sleeve. Oh, maybe don't burp. Okay. So, nope, I can stop saying that. I need to find another thing to say. Why do I keep saying so? Because I'm sewing. Hold on.